What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another stream. How is everyone doing? Welcome. Happy Thursday, happy Wednesday. Middle of the week already, and we are moving closer to the NFP. So we'll see what data we're going to have. Market has been just trending after the opening on Monday with a big move to the upside on the dollar. Then the market has been just correcting and moving to the downside, which is basically respecting the engulfs that we saw last week. And it looks like that maybe the market is actually may continue, and we are approaching an important level, which is this low in here on the dollar index. Feel free to subscribe, guys. Welcome. So basically this is a stream for us to do our pre-market analysis to look for the best trading opportunities for tomorrow. We take a look at different assets. We go from FX, indices, a little bit of crypto as well, and then commodities, mostly gold and oil. Gold just is skyrocketing all the way. Is it going to get to 3,000? That's the question. Or when it's going to get to 3,000? Most likely it's going to get to 3,000 for sure. So yeah, let me know in the comments what pairs are you looking for, and if you want me to look at any specific pair, let me know and I'll be able to do so. So yeah, let me know as well. All right, so let's get started. Today we had the ADP non-farm payroll, and then we also have the services PMI, if I'm not mistaken. No, manufacturing actually. Manufacturing PMI was slightly better than expected. But the main news was actually that was Monday, sorry. Yeah, services PMI here. It was actually worse than expected. We had the ADP non-farm payroll. It came out, the results were actually slightly better than expected at 183 instead of 148. We saw a little bit of a reaction in the market in there. But again, the main goal is going to be tomorrow. Not tomorrow, it's going to be on Friday with NFP, but tomorrow we have Bank of England interest rate decision. It's basically the last central banker that hasn't really announced their rates since the beginning of the year. Like everyone else basically already had a meeting. Bank of England is going to be tomorrow, and the expectation is for another rate cut from 4.75 to go to 4.5%. So we are going to pay attention in particular to the pound pairs, and let's see if the euro pound is ready finally to move to the upside now that it has been reacting quite nicely from this demand zone in there, as we'll see in a bit when I go into the charts. Moving along, again, it looks like that the situation with Trump and the tariffs has slowed down a little bit, and the market is getting back into normality. Or how long? That's the question, right? We don't really know. But let's start with the dollar index. Basically, just the market continued to push to the downside, right? Yesterday, it was somewhere around here. We're reacting a little from this level. We mentioned that most likely price would break, or if it breaks, then it will just fill out this range and get closer to this previous low, which is basically where we are right now. So we'll see. Basically, that's the last level in here that price can still hold. Otherwise, we are going to have this continuation to the downside. Now, we have been moving to downside on Monday, Tuesday, and today. Right, so eventually there's going to be a point where we're going to have a little bit of a correction, at least some bullishness in here. So which means that perhaps we could even react a little bit from this low, maybe just trade within this range in anticipation to the NFP. Maybe we can just trade within this level without even breaking structure. We'll see if that's going to happen or not. Or if you start breaking structure to the downside, then that can start creating a little bit of a different setup for the NFP, something that eventually we're going to talk about as well tomorrow in the stream. So yeah, basically, again, we'll see. Price is correcting a little bit right now. I'm looking for price to get a little bit closer. You can go maybe into the lower time frame to see if there's anything still left behind at around this structure. Yes or no. Basically, if you look into this structure here, yeah, maybe a little bit of a compression here. Maybe these extremes in there, and maybe this structure in here can be used, or maybe that was already used with this one, which becomes a KM, and basically are going to be looking for something like that. But yeah, this decision point basically that finally convinced or made the decision for price to go higher. We have this left shoulder as well in there, so there's maybe a little bit more room to the downside. but you do have potentially with this left shoulder in there as well. So that's going to be definitely what I'm going to be looking for. I did deleted some of the alerts, so today it's actually working. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen on dollar index, and then we may still have the reaction towards this level. Right, we could potentially just fill the range all the way towards here, and that could be the play. Until if you start breaking above this level, then we potentially can go slightly higher. Paying attention still to this level in here, that maybe price could react and go. But if you start breaking above that level, we can maybe, especially without breaking these walls, we could potentially start moving slightly more to the upside. But as long as we respect this level, we may continue bearish. Another move that could happen is maybe price just goes a little bit more to the upside. Tomorrow just literally breaks below it, and then that could be a level for the NFP on Friday. For price to kind of come back all the way through, potentially fake out whatever highs are going to be created in here or this structure, and then maybe just react and just continue to push lower in here. Which, if prices break below that level, I think it literally opens doors for a further move to downside on the dollar index. And then you'll take a look into the euro later on, just to pay attention to it as well. Looking now at the US indices. All right, looking at the US indices, we can see that price is starting to continue to push to the upside. Like, he created a little bit of a range in here, but basically just price creating new all-time highs, retracing, reacting from the demand zone. We talked about these levels. So initially we had this one, and then this was basically the next zone, literally, and price moved. Again, the way price moves in these particular levels, it's quite interesting, and it's something that it deserves to be studied, because what it does is actually price breaks highs, but then it creates a low that never really reaches this level in here. So it creates this fake low, which is already kind of a break that one, which kind of opens the door to go. There we go. Here I am. Yeah, the platform is just crashing sometimes, so yeah, apologies for that. Hopefully it's going to get better. But as I was saying, basically price creates this fake low in here, which again is going to attract more people into sales, especially as price getting closer to here. People are going to be interested in looking for sales, because what they see now is a low being broken, so they think that maybe this is already the flip in here or change of direction. But no, because the only thing that price is doing is just reacting from this demand zone. Even when you are looking at it, it's quite interesting, because what price does is actually, as price is approaching this level, there you go, we have our first break of a high. So there you go, attracting people into buying in here, and all of a sudden price breaks to downside again, right? So again, people now are starting to look for sales, because they never pay. Most traders, they don't pay attention to the left side. That's one of the problems. And there you go. But this is a great PA as well for a reversal. Start breaking to the upside, and then kind of as the fake out in there breaks again, then this could have been the entry if you want to wait again for this level to be broken. Otherwise, maybe you can try to find some kind of trend line here, or whatever way you want to look for a break of structure in there to go for a long, as long as price is still respecting this level. But yeah, nice interesting PA at around this level in here on the S&P. And again, as I was saying, I still wanted to see price continue to push higher, and eventually can go closer to this level in here. So that's a zone definitely that I'll be paying attention to in there. Yeah, so we'll see how price may react from around this level. Yeah, where it go. Where it continue to push a little bit more. We do have that one as well, so that's something. I think that was one level that we analyzed yesterday. I think on the higher time frame, maybe something relevant. Otherwise, eventually just let price continue to push higher. Yeah, it doesn't really look that interesting. 1 second. No, moving here. All right. All right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see in here on the S&P, but it's something to keep an eye on as price continues to compress. It's kind of a similar move like this, where in here we actually start having some walls being broken on the way. In this particular case, we have also all these demand zones being respected, which means that they are being taken. Next one, for example, is something in here that is potentially relevant, or eventually price retesting this zone in here again. All right, so we're testing back to these walls in here, and then eventually getting closer to that zone. That's something to keep an eye on, and yeah, that one as well. So yeah, that's S&P in here. Looking at Nasdaq, that was a nice reaction. Again, it continues, right? It's exactly the same thing. Created that low, came all the way down to respect the demand zone, and all of a sudden we flipped and you start moving to the upside. This was around London Open, and since then price has just been moving to the upside, right? And now it's approaching actually that level that we talked about yesterday, potential reaction from this level, but eventually can even go slightly higher. And as I mentioned, if not mistaken, on the Nasdaq, price can even go eventually take this high and react from something slightly higher without even taking the all-time price. But for now, definitely be paying attention towards this level in there. Yeah, so let it continue to go higher. We don't really have a break of structure just yet, or break of a low in here. Then this becomes a little bit of the next structure in there, where price eventually can react and continue to go higher. Yeah, looks like that's actually the one in here. Can go to the extreme as well. Yeah, let it go. Let it continue to go higher in here. I'm not sure if there's any kind of trend line that you may want to draw, something like that, but let it continue to go higher. Dow, what a reaction. Interesting. So Dow actually came all the way. I'm actually curious as well. I don't really like that we do have a double top in here, and we may not even manage to break that low, so that may be a problem. But we do have kind of a double top in there. Now I still see some potential sell opportunities at around, or sell orders at around this structure here at the highs, so that's something that I'll keep an eye on for sure. Whenever price gets back into that level, like for example breaking out that high and a potential reaction from the structure in here, which perhaps still has some orders in there. Even though we did react, it came all the way back in here, but then we reacted all the way, like we retraced all the way back to collect the orders, and then we moved away. The question mark is if there's still some orders at around this structure in there. Something that we will be looking at. We did manage to break below that low, so that's something interesting. We did have this initial structure in here. Basically, yeah, price fake out that level and then pushed higher. I can potentially already start deleting this in there. Yeah, let it go. Let it continue to go a little bit higher. Potentially having here, double top in there, then the other one. That's something to keep an eye on as well. Looking at the DAX, there you go. So we managed to finally break above and close the gap. The DAX was still missing in terms of closing the gap. And we do have this next structure in here, right? So that potentially can be a zone where price is going to retest. They were tricky. They did manage to break below the low, potentially attracting people for sales, but no, just as a continuation. Close the gap now. There's again, as I mentioned, there's potentially a trading here that price can do this, and then maybe continue to go to the upside. So that's something that potentially can happen. We'll see. Otherwise, just let DAX continue. As I mentioned, I'm not the biggest fan that we have all these highs in here in alignment. Potentially, you can go all the way, still fake out the level, and then and only then move to the downside. Even though as well, when you're looking at this bigger move in here, we didn't really manage to break structure, right? We actually respected precisely that low, so we had a big correction to the downside, but just respected the previous low, and now we are resuming the move upwards, going all the way back closer to the previous high, right? Which means that there is not exactly a break of structure in here. Price respected the structure. They actually respected this left shoulder in here it was a quite nice reaction from that level. So that's something that we'll be looking at. There is potentially this compression here, so that price go above this level in here. Actually, this is the decision point in here, this last level in there. So if price still wants to respect this level in here, potentially it can, but as soon as it breaks above this level, then it's looking for price to go slightly higher, and maybe they're starting to see something in here that price could eventually react from. This is basically the last low that created this last push up, something in here, and which means that maybe there's some kind of level in alignment with that one. Can maybe look into the water time for 1 second. Yeah, just check into here. So all of this is going to be compressed. Perfect. And yeah, then you're going to be looking into some structure in there. Now, a lot of this is compressed as well. There's maybe the extreme in there, and there's maybe this zone in here as well. It's perhaps not exactly touched. Yeah, but I do like this level as well. This was basically a zone that we could have respected, but it was not. Price actually broke it, which was in alignment with those levels in there as well. And then even this one as well, which is one of the last attempts to actually go higher, and price just breaks the downside. So that also it's a zone that that can be interesting. Yeah, so let's see if price breaks above, go above this compression, and then potentially you can start seeing some bearishness. So where it move, initial target on the DAX is going to be always just a retest into this structure. There's no point in looking straight away for something bigger. There's a lot to do or to happen before even looking for that, so there's no point in doing that. So any target is going to be somewhere around here. If you start breaking below that level, then we can start looking further down. Until then, there's no point in doing that. Looking at Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin is correcting as well. I don't really like these V corrections in here. Again, that level was respected really nicely all the way to the extreme. Perfect, like textbook. Like this is kind of, again, it just proves a little bit of the ways of looking at the market and where the levels actually are and where price reacts from, because this is a proof of that. It's just a big momentum to the downside. It stops exactly at the left shoulder in there, which is unbelievable. And now we'll see. Like, we'll take a look into to see what's going to happen at around this level. We do have this demand zone, so that's a zone in there that we're going to keep an eye on. Price already reacted a little bit from here. It can go to the extreme, of course it can, and it would make total sense if it goes there. So that's something to keep an eye on, and eventually can even go slightly lower. But for now, definitely somewhere around this level in here, Bitcoin can react, and we'll see if it's going to be within this range or not. So that's something to keep an eye on at around this level. Ethereum also kind of a little bit within this structure. Not really touching that, and someone actually is moving. Yeah, someone is actually moving more to the downside. Again, you still have this structure there. Someone that was another one that reacted perfectly from these left shoulders in there. So we'll see. Like, we'll see if there's going to be any type of PI in here to potentially look for a long at around this structure without the need to break this low. Yeah, we did actually manage to break this line here, so that's interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Then looking at the yen, basically we were looking for that. If you guys recall, that's exactly the analysis that we did on Monday. Even when price was moving to the downside, we talked about this level in here as a potential continuation setup, or as continuation zone to see this yen index continue to push higher. And that's basically what's happening. Like, we did manage to break above this level with this high, and eventually looking for this yen index to continue to push a little bit more to the upside, and that's exactly what has been happening. Like, basically price respect is really nice this level, and today it was a strong move in here with the yen pairs moving to the downside, in particular yen index, the dollar yen, which kind of follows what dollar index also has been doing in there. So yeah, next levels it will be somewhere at around this structure, and then with the potential to go even slightly higher. And then we have the Euro Index as well, still about to close the gap. Yeah, we'll see. Overall, Euro Index, I think I'm a bit more bearish than bullish in here, to be honest. All right, so moving along, let's take a look into the individual currency pairs, starting with euro dollar. So euro dollar again respected perfectly today. Finally, my platform is working okay. So yeah, it respected perfectly, and since then it's been just moving to the upside. Eventually, we do need to see this level in here being broken before price even attempts to go lower. It's basically the same level that I mentioned on the dollar index. If prices break above that level, potentially there's more room to the upside. Otherwise, price may just respect that and pushes lower. In this case, it will be to push higher. So it's a daily level in here. Basically, these left shoulders in there. That's where price reacted with the news, the services PMI, if not mistaken. And after that, price is actually holding. Again, it's basically 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row where price just moving in one direction, and then we'll be close to a potential correction a little bit. At least some bearishness on the euro. We'll see. Yeah, I think I would prefer to actually see euro dollar potentially eventually getting a little bit closer into this level before a bigger short. It may not happen, right? And we may have just a correction here, then eventually price goes, and since price actually respected perfectly this level in here, and these highs could be a little bit seen as an engulf to the upside in here, eventually price may actually wants to go higher, and then eventually feel all this price in here eventually into the next zone in there. So that's something to keep an eye on in here. On the euro, we'll see where price is going to be at tomorrow morning with the London Open, to look for either a little bit of a reversal or potentially a continuation in here, depending on where price actually is. You guys, looking at the pound dollar, which again tomorrow with the Bank of England, that's going to be potentially a most attractive pair to look at instead of euro dollar. So we approach this level, right? It's actually a great level, in my opinion, a little bit better even than the euro dollar zone. This was a fresh level that high never reacted from it, and basically price now is reacting from there, and we do have this structure, right? So this needs to be broken if price actually does want to move a little bit more to the downside. And if you do have that bearishness on the pound, then you're going to have euro pound moving upward, which is a little bit what you are looking for in here. So let's see how the pound may react from this level in here. May have even left this one behind, perhaps. Yeah, we'll see, and can even fake out the high a little bit one more time, this one, because maybe price still wants to go a little bit more to the upside. Yeah, this is basically what price, the level that was holding price up, and then it's broken within this candle, and then we have the move to downside. So in reality, this is a little bit of where the decision point happened. As you can see, we had already that touch in there, so potentially we are looking actually for price to go a little bit more into this zone in here, and that's basically, I believe, where price may have reacted so far, a little bit underneath than this line in there, because when you're looking at those levels, it's not just about these ones, it's actually the decision, a kind of the price action created after the break, or that is the origin of the break or after the break, that then makes the decision to continue to push lower instead of going to the upside. Right? It's this kinking here that matters a little bit, and we do have also this left shoulder, something to keep an eye on as well, because this is perhaps an interesting zone to look for some kind of reaction. This one actually managed to break below this low, so we may have that level in there. Then you may have the one straight away after that. Right, so again, apparently price actually still have missed that zone, so I'm actually curious to see now where price actually reacted, and it went even to the next one. So price isn't really going all the way. reacted already from that one. Okay, you do have this decision point in there. Yeah, so in my opinion, I wouldn't be surprised if the pound dollar actually does create slightly a new high in here before a potential move down. It will depend also where the world is actually reacting from to see that as a move to downside or just a continuation. If price doesn't really manage to break, for example, below that structure, then this can be just a small continuation and for price to continue to push even higher. So yeah, we need to see some bearishness in here. We did manage to break slightly below these walls, but that's just a continuation here. Yeah, sorry, there's not exactly any important structure being broken at this point. So that will be definitely something to keep an eye on tomorrow with the Bank of England at 12 UK time. Looking at Euro Pound, right? So the Euro Pound is still respecting that demand zone. We talked about that. I just literally hate this candles created on the NC market on the Euro Pound. Like at midnight, there's always one weird candle which kind of destroys a little bit what I'm looking here, because it makes total sense where price actually reacted in here, but this one, it just literally came all the way, and yeah, I just hate these candles. Yeah, it's holding a little bit again, as we mentioned. There is potentially still a deeper move to downside into this level, or price may just respect this. We still have that gap to close, but potential price can just fill this range as well, like basically go all the way back into this zone in there. It could make sense for price eventually to go there, and that's kind of my view, my opinion. So tomorrow is going to be an interesting one. Either have maybe a big move to the downside, or you're going to have a good move to the upside in here. So yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on. I'll track this one for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely track Euro Pound, and potentially there's a trade in here. Aussie dollar just continues to push higher, and now I already took this high, so that's an interesting one. We can start having a little bit of a bearish pressure in here. Price is approaching now this left shoulder in there, so that makes actually sense where price is approaching. Have we got any low being broken? Yeah, we kind of had this low being broken in here, even though price just respected exactly the structure after that, which is basically this structure in here. Yeah, it's basically that structure. So yeah, upper edge in there, then reacted from the other one, basically gets a KM zone in here. And then of course you do have the potential retest all the way back into this zone in here as well. Yeah, it could go slightly higher. You can close this gap in there as well. Yeah, let's see how this Aussie is going to react. Again, it's another one that has been just trending in one direction for this week, and that's definitely something that we want to keep an eye on. It's tired, guys. It's just closed. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Platforms are just closing. Yeah, it's going on. All right, should be here. I didn't save any of the words I just created, but okay, that's Aussie. Let's take a look at New Zealand, which is also approaching an interesting level. So we had that zone in there. The price reacted a little bit, but still trying to see New Zealand going slightly higher. We did mention already about New Zealand and Aussie that potentially the next level is going to be still above these highs. So perhaps that's eventually where the price is going to. I really like this PI that I can see here in terms of a reversal pattern, and yeah, it's working so far. It's moving quite nicely. So we'll see. We'll see on New Zealand eventually what's going to happen. Price reacting from this level, we can eventually go there as well. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on in here. Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on. Beautiful. Yeah, the goal is not to go, but eventually, if by any chance this actually wants to go over, then eventually you're going to be looking for price to come back all the way into there. But at this point, there's maybe more likelihood that price is going to use this level in here as a potential long than maybe a short. But definitely now into the intraday time frame, there's maybe that opportunity to keep an eye on New Zealand in here. And let it continue to push higher, perhaps. So that's a zone in there that we want to keep an eye on in here. Euro Aussie just continues to push lower, right? So Euro Aussie, it held for so long this level in here, and now finally pushing lower back at this structure. So we'll see what's going to happen as well. It can be seen a little bit as a continuation as well from here, but we may have a correction a little bit depending on also what the Aussie dollar is going to do. Something to keep an eye on. And then when you are looking at when we are actually looking at the pound Aussie in here, it just continues to push lower. Right, so we did manage to start breaking below that level. It was already a little bit of a push. That was a great level where price ended up reacting from, and now price is pushing to downside, which can eventually go all the way closer to this zone in there. We just managed to break this level. We may have an initial reaction and then potential continuation. And it's going to be interesting to see tomorrow with the Bank of England. A lot of the move that initially I was looking for, which is exactly that reaction from there to downside, that's basically done. Of course, there's maybe more room now to go lower. The question mark is if price does want to go by any chance higher in here, is it going to go all the way into here, and does it make sense to short again from that level? All right, so we did manage to break a little bit below that structure, so that's something in there, a little bit of a bearish move or bearish direction in here. So we'll see if price eventually fills out this compression. But it does, yeah, it was definitely one that we were looking for last week, beginning of this week, into there after this big push to the upside. It was something also that we looked for, the reversal, as price was literally getting closer to this level. I don't really see price still respecting that extra, the end of that level, so eventually can fake out and go as well. But yeah, really nice move in there. Aussie, and not really sure what to look for. I haven't really tracked Aussie, and to be honest, in here just continues to push lower, so it's not really on my radar, to be honest. Dollar yen finally moved, right? So it has been for a while within this range, basically almost for a month, until it finally moves. It moved with dollar being bearish, and it also moved with the yen index as well, making that push to the upside. Like so, combination of both just made this strong push to the downside on the dollar yen, which is great. It's something that I was looking for as well. I was bearish. The question mark is if you would have that extra fake out or not before pushing down. We didn't. Price just basically kept respecting this level in here, and now finally maybe approaching a little bit closer into something in here, even though these are actually a break to the downside potentially. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen, but we do have still this level in here, something that maybe it's worth to pay attention as well, below that low. So I can maybe delete that. Potentially maybe below this structure in here, we may see a little bit of structure in there. Yeah, this one here has been reacted from, basically already reacted from. So a lot of this is basically compressed already, maybe a little bit of a reaction from here. Then everything in here was compressed to me, and eventually I'd like to see this dollar yen actually getting a little bit closer to the lows in there. So that's just something to keep an eye on. That's where I'm going to be eventually interested in participating on this move. Euro yen just continues to push, and now I'm curious. Now we did manage to close that gap, and price straight away pushing lower. I think we are approaching an interesting level in here. Price actually reacted quite nicely. So are we going to have a new reaction from here to the upside? We did manage to break above that high, so that's also interesting because it's really nice to see some highs being broken on the way down, which eventually can mean potential return. And this level is still fresh, like whatever the demand zone is still in here, like this structure in here with these left shoulders, basically that's still fresh. And we do have this this previous supply that potentially can be seen as almost as a demand zone now. But this level in here definitely 100% reacted quite nicely even with that one, so it's maybe worth to keep an eye on that one. Set up the alert in here, even another one, just make sure. Oh, damn it. Even another one. So yeah, let it continue to push a little bit in here, maybe a little bit to the upside, and then maybe you can have some kind of PA like that, looking at this one already as an engulf. Pound yen is going to be another one that, again, tomorrow may move a little bit more because of the interest rate decision. And I'm curious to see how price may eventually get closer into this level. That's still the zone where I'm going to be paying attention to, as price is now breaking that above that high, and eventually it's going to approach that zone in there as well. So yeah, but overall, as you can see, this was already an engulf to the downside, and price respected really nicely that extreme, right? Basically price went up, broke a low, came all the way back to the extreme, respected the extreme, and now already reacted even from this level first. And yeah, it even already reacted from this level to higher, but now it's back into here, right? So this level starts becoming a little bit weaker and weaker, but I still like potentially this level in here. So I'm going to be curious to see how price may react from that level, and potentially look for a long in here. If price is something like that, maybe can have that opportunity. But then we need to look at the pound pairs and try to see them. Which direction does it make sense when you're combining all of them? Like looking at the pound dollar, euro pound, pound yen, pound CAD, pound Aussie. Like, what clues can we try to identify to see which direction it would make sense actually for price to move tomorrow? There is again the expectation is for a cut rate of 25 basis points. So we need to see. Like for the last few days, did the most of the pound pairs have been bullish or bearish? Right? Question mark in there. Which levels have been broken? Are they approaching now an interesting level of supply or demand zone that can lead potentially to a move into the opposite direction? Has price been compressed? Yes or no? Compressing in this case, right? Which means that it starts to show weakness, and all of a sudden, when you do have compressing moves in the 1 or 2 days before a big news, that's perfect, because then it literally opens the space, so there's nothing really holding price back, and price can just with a quick candle just break everything, and that's usually when you see big moves happening as well. So yeah, you need to pay attention to all of that to see at this point when you're looking at it. We saw that pound Aussie is actually moving a little bit downside. We have pound dollar moving upward. It is what it is. Not really much I can do. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, so I'm going to be interested in looking to see how potentially this pound yen may react from here, if it wants to hold these lows one more time, or if eventually if it wants to break, then maybe use these lows in here as a continuation to the downside. Just something to keep an eye on, basically. Looking at CAD. Like, so we had that big push to downside, and we are approaching now or testing these lows in here. So that's basically what we have. Price actually is holding a little bit. This is quite surprising. Price doesn't really take these lows. That was a massive move. Oh my god. I don't really understand what's going on. If someone has a solution to this, please let me know. Is letting it open again? So let's push back this one once again. Perfect. All right. Where were I? Davarkat. Yeah, Davarkat. So we are here. Basically, fake out those two highs in here, and after that, price actually started to push now up to the lower. I'll be surprised if price eventually doesn't really go a little bit even higher, but for now this reaction is quite good and potentially can even retest one of these levels first before pushing to the upside again, which potentially can even be this one, for example. So that's a zone to keep an eye on in here. As a continuation setup, price can eventually get a little bit closer into one of these two zones, maybe fake out this structure, but I would actually prefer to see price doing something like this, pushing lower, and then yes, coming back up in here again and create some kind of a range at around this level in here, and then continue to push lower. I think that will make quite sense in here, to be honest. And all of a sudden we have that type of a move where potentially get some kind of a range in here with some highs and lows in alignment, and then price just basically breaking them below it, and then come back in here, respect a little bit, and then kind of does that move in there and just goes. So that's a little bit of the PI that I'm going to be paying attention to in here on Davarkat. Unless price does want to go even closer to this left shoulder again, or even then into those bigger ones in there. So that's of course something to keep an eye on as well. But first and foremost, we do need to just confirm it with the break of this new low. Yeah, I don't need to not delete all this, because of course I'm making all these drawings and then the platform just crashes and it doesn't really save anything. It's annoying. Looking at the pound CAD, it did manage to break below that level. So for example, pound CAD is actually being quite bearish, a little bit similar to the pound Aussie. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen. Pound yen as well. So by any chance, for example, if price is reacting from this zone in here, potentially could do it, and then try to go higher again before potentially move down. That could be an interesting type of a move. We even have a little bit of a break of a high in there. I'm not the biggest fan of this low, so I actually would prefer to see a deeper move into something in here on the pound CAD before pushing again. But when you are even looking into the higher time frame, we do have a break of a low in here. We have price basically retesting this. This is literally a massive KM in here with a potential move to the downside like that. That's in theory what would happen. We did manage to respect that level in there, but potentially that can be the play in here on the pound CAD, as price also respecting that zone in there. But before that, in the lower time frame, we may have one more retest into this level before pushing lower. It's something to keep an eye on for sure, and I'll definitely be aware of whatever is going to happen in here tomorrow. Looking at the EuroCAD, EuroCAD, which respects that structure, I really fake out that one. So it's just pushing lower. I'm not really interested at this point, just in the middle. So either go up again, closer to that level. I'm not going to be looking for any longs in here. Price already even broke that low. So if by any chance, then it's going to be to look for price to go. So it's really on fire. yeah, so that's EuroCAD, everything that mixed in here. Not really sure what to look for. Let me just save this in here. That's what I'm doing now. It's going to be saved. We go again. Oh my god, so annoying. Yeah, dollar franc Swiss again. It's respected that we have the move to downside in here. I have to admit I was a little bit tempted to try to look for a potential reaction from this level, but I'm not going to really react from that. It's kind of the old me that used to do that, which we have the price creating a high, which is actually reacting from a great level on the left side. We have price breaking structure. This is a breakout structure, and then respecting the extreme again, which basically, again, the tendency is going to be to look for this low to be broken as price respected perfectly the extreme in there. There's no engulfs to the upside just yet. Price is respecting the structure in here. It's been quite bearish, so I'm not going to really be looking for a long in here. We may even react. For example, we may have some kind of reaction from here, and maybe that will be the only attempt that I'll be looking for any kind of longs in there. Otherwise, because this is already an engulf to downside, I'll be looking for here. And if price by any chance has some kind of reaction here, I'm not going to be crazy with the target. It's going to be just into the next structure, and that was it. I'm not going to be looking for anything in terms of testing back into this level. I don't think that's going to happen. I think the likelihood is that price actually is going to break below this low before going all the way up again. So if that's my bias, yeah, I'm not going to be putting really much risk into that. Then you have all this compression here, price already breaking some structure, which is nice. So we'll see what's going to happen in here. Yeah, we'll see. Again, price kind of compressed already a lot into this level. This is the extreme of the extreme. The price doesn't want to go there, or you do have this decision point in there, which is something that I'm going to mark. So yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here on the dollar franc Swiss. Then we have gold, which is just moving all the way up. And so it's getting closer and closer to 2,900, and then eventually it's going to get to 3K. I'm not really touching gold. Again, I did my video about all-time highs. You can see eventually what I usually look for. But at this point, it still looks like it has momentum. We need to see a little bit of weakness. This is one first sign of a break of structure in there. So that's a zone eventually that you want to pay attention to. It's basically the last low that created a separation here between the structures, basically between this structure here and that one. So that's something to want to keep an eye on. This is nice. For example, we already have basically a left shoulder and then a push down. Now the fake out and basic price respecting that zone. So that was a nice one. And you're going to continue to be looking for something like that until potentially there's something in there to look for on gold. And then to finalize, we go into oil. Again, oil, it looks like that there's still more room to the downside. We did have that initial reaction from the structure, but overall, as you can see, eventually price may wants to go all the way back into this mark around 69, 68. And to be honest, I'll be a bit more comfortable looking for more of a bigger trade in here than just starting to look in here. Everything in here is more of a intraday setup, in my opinion. Potentially there's a little bit of a reaction from this level, something to keep an eye on. But yeah, because price which we just went, we did manage to fake out a little bit in here, but definitely still nowhere near close the proper break to the upside, which has this structure in there. So we just continue. Now, yes, we do have this demand zone. Basically, maybe it's where price is now reacting in here, because we did manage to have such a strong momentum here, and price never really come back. So yeah, we are basically reacting a little bit in here. This interesting compression on the way down, which eventually can lead into into a break of some important level and price just aiming all the way back into this zone. So yeah, that's something to keep an eye on in the end. So we'll see if this will actually holds. But overall, bigger picture, I'll be a little bit more biased in looking for price to go further down instead of just pausing where it is right now. Even when you're looking at the Brent as well. One second, where is it? Yeah, right. Brent, which we came all the way, respected already that zone. Bitcoin kind of missed it. It reacted already from that zone in there as well. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, there is not exactly any break to the upside, so yeah, so that's basically it. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on it. If there is an opportunity to trade maybe between this range, maybe I'm going to be looking for that. Main focus for tomorrow, again, it's going to be a little bit with the pound pair, especially in the morning. It's Thursday. Thursday, usually at 3 p.m, you have this type of reversal, so that's something that I will keep an eye on as well. And US indices, I want to keep an eye on them as well, as they are approaching the highs again. So that's definitely something that I'll be keeping an eye as the US indices start to get closer to the previous highs in there. And then what else? The dollar pairs as well, like dollar is approaching the low, everything else is approaching the high, so that's something to keep an eye on. And euro pound as well, regarding to the pound pair, something to look at. So yeah, price is finally approaching now close to the extremes after just being bullish or moving in one direction during these last 2-3 days. Potentially going to have some reversals tomorrow. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And yeah, thank you for your time and for watching. And let me know in the comments what if there's any specific pair that you want to look for, or if there's anything else that you would like me to include in the stream. Just get in touch. Thank you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Obrigado.